Hi, in this video, we'll create a floor and wall background with a rounded corner, a back paper style background. I introduced this in another video before, but this time I'd like to introduce a completely different approach. When smoothing the corner, the mesh density often needs to be increased across the entire model, which usually leads to a larger file size. So this time, we'll only increase the mesh density on the rounded corner itself, and show a method for keeping the rest of the mesh to a minimum. I often use this background for things like thumbnails, so I hope it can be useful for all of you as well. Add a box. To make the progress easier to see, I'll turn on wireframe. I'll set X division to 1. Validate. Switch to face group. I'll change the on tap setting to the hide icon. We tap the unnecessary faces to hide them. We add a new face group to the corner's 4 quads. A new face group has been added. I'll enable sharp border. Subdivide. Only the corner part of the face group we added has become smooth. With this, we were able to separate the straight wall, the rounded corner, and the straight floor into different face groups. I'll continue subdividing while checking how smooth the corner looks. This time, I subdivided quite a lot, but when using a smaller corner radius, you probably don't need to subdivide this much. Even with the same number of subdivisions, using a smaller corner radius increases the mesh density, making the corner appear smoother. Later on, I'll reduce the mesh as much as possible, but it's a good idea to adjust the number of subdivisions based on your preferred corner size. So at this point, there's still a lot of unnecessary mesh, so I'll use cell mask to extract only the parts we need. Switch to cell mask. Display the face group. I'll turn off symmetry here. I'll create a mask only on the minimum mesh required. Using the face group as a guide, I added masks to 1 quad of the wall and floor, as well as the corner radius area. We'll extract only the masked area. To make the next steps easier, I'll set the thickness to 0.0. Extract. The mask we created is no longer needed, so I'll clear it. While working, it's fine to keep the original object hidden. But if you use this background as an asset, it's recommended to delete it. Deleting it helps reduce file size and makes it easier to handle when importing into other files later. I'm planning to cover importing into other files in a separate video, so I'd be happy if you check that out as well. Using the gizmo, we extend the width. Next, we extend the wall and floor areas as well. Switch to Cell Mask. We select only the wall quads. This time, the symmetry was disabled. So I selected both sides manually, but with symmetry enabled, the process would be a bit more efficient. We invert the mask. We stretch it out to the size we like. Clear the mask. We do the same steps to stretch the floor as well. Face group isn't needed anymore, so we hide it here. A light adjustment to the overall shape once more. I'll add thickness using a mask. We invert the mask. Extract. I'll hide or delete the original object. Finally, since the object is not centered in the world, I'll reset it to the center to finish. I'll tap Move Origin. To see how it looks, I added a sphere and a light. Even without using smooth shading, the corners are showing up cleanly. The background used in the previous video's thumbnail had fewer subdivisions and looked polygonal, so I used smooth shading as a temporary solution. This workflow involves some detailed steps, and there were moments when I wasn't sure if this was the best approach, But if it doesn't cause any issues for you, feel free to try making your background using this method. I hope this was helpful.